Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Chanelle, and I'm one of the registered nutritionists here at VitaminLab. So, today we're going to focus on a system that we could all benefit from supporting throughout every stage of our lives, our brain. So, in this presentation, we'll delve into the mechanisms of cognition and memory and explore some lifestyle changes and supplements that are backed by science that can be used to support these areas. As always, the best way to supplement is to meet with one of our nutritionists who offer complimentary consultations to determine what supplements and doses are right for you. Um, just as a reminder, all the statements made in today's presentation and the respective products are not intended to diagnose, treat, heal, or cure any disease or condition. So let's get started. Brain health. Brain health in general can be defined as the preservation of optimal brain integrity and mental and cognitive function in the absence of overt neurological disorders. Now, this is quite a broad definition. So, without disease doesn't necessarily mean a completely healthy brain. So, there are all symptoms that we may all experience quite regularly that can impact our brain or cognitive health. Fatigue, brain fog, reduced tolerance to stress, um, poor memory recall. So these are just a few of the symptoms that I often hear about from customers. So there are many steps that we can take to better influence our cognitive function on both a day-to-day level, but also on that broad level to reduce the risk of disease or degeneration. So before we get into that, how exactly does our brain work? So the brain is an extremely complicated organ and it has a lot of its functions. A lot of its functions and capabilities are still yet to be discovered. So the brain is responsible for everything we do, from thinking and feeling to moving and breathing. So maintaining optimal brain health is crucial for a fulfilling life. So we're going to focus on two major functions of the brain and the areas that are responsible for these functions. So memory and decision making. So the brain consists of billions of neurons that communicate through electrical and chemical signals. Each area of the brain is responsible for unique processes and functions. So the prefrontal cortex, which is the area that's shown in orange at the beginning of this video, this is responsible for higher level thinking and decision making, but it isn't fully developed until after puberty when the neural wires connect this region to the rest of the brain. However, these are not the only areas responsible. So at the beginning of the video, you'll see a green portion of the brain. This is called the temporal lobe. So right above the right ear, this area lights up when that aha moment or that decision is reached or we recognize something. In memory, different areas of the brain are responsible. So these areas are responsible for encoding and retrieving memories. So if you scroll towards the end of the video, an area that's highlighted in bright green on the inside of the brain, and then a copper portion on the bottom of the brain, that's towards the end of the video. So these are the major players. We've got the amygdala, the cerebellum, the basal ganglia, and the hippocampus. Again, just some of the areas responsible for memory. So it's clear to see that damage or deterioration to different areas of the brain will yield different symptoms. But why is a healthy brain so important? So, as we said, the brain is responsible for everything we do: movement, breathing, thinking. So, in order to excel and function optimally in all of these areas, our brain needs to be supported. Cognitive health, in particular, involves the skills of memory, learning, problem solving, and decision making. So, as we age, cognitive function may decline, but there are certain measures that we can take to help maintain and even improve it. So, with an optimally functioning brain, we're going to be able to experience quite a few things. So, first, we're going to have the ability to communicate. We'll be able to share stories, express our feelings, pass down or wisdom to future generations. We'll be able to make and recall memories, recognize faces of friends and family to share those experiences and memories with. We'll be able to remember a phone number or how to do a simple math equation to help our kids with their homework. We'll be able to live independently and make our own choices, think things through, and make informed decisions. So, as we age, our brain, like all other organic matter in the world, begins to deteriorate. So, neurons stop firing so rapidly, and functions may slow down or be inhibited. But if this were the only factor contributing to reduced cognitive function, we'd be seeing people live long, healthy lives. with healthy brains. Unfortunately, this is not the case. We often see reduced cognitive function earlier in life, so there are a few other factors that come into play. So besides aging, what are we doing that could possibly be harming our brain health? So the first is smoking. We know that smoking damages our blood vessels and it causes chronic inflammation, which can lead to stroke and cognitive decline. So a 2011 study actually showed that smokers were 30 to 40 times more likely to develop Alzheimer's or vascular dementia than non-smokers. Eating too poorly or eating too much can also be harmful. A study that used MRIs to look at the brains of obese teenagers found inflammation caused damage to the white matter in the brain. So the brain changes that were found in these individuals were in the regions that are responsible for emotions and cognitive function. So being too sedentary can lead to all sorts of health problems, including obesity, heart disease, diabetes, and all these health problems can cause damage to the brain and increase the risk of developing dementia. Spending too much time in the dark can also be harmful. So your brain is just not getting exposed to that light. So light actually activates factors that are essential for memory formation, as well as factors important for the regulation of mood and overall brain health. So studies have shown that when animals are exposed to constant dim light, as opposed to that natural cycle of brightness and darkness, they show impairments in both learning and memory. And then thinking too negatively. So yes, this really, really does matter. Thinking negatively is a habit that can really damage our brain. So when we're constantly stressed or anxious, it does take a toll on our mental health. In fact, research has shown that people who dwell in the negative have more amyloid and tau deposits in their brain. So these deposits are actually a key indicator for Alzheimer's disease. And then dehydration, just not getting enough fluids. So now that we know some areas that we may be lacking, how can we improve our brain health? So one we really want to focus on is food, good quality foods. We want to focus on those antioxidants and those healthy fats. Things like fatty fish, avocado, olive oils. These are really going to help support our brain integrity. So supporting our gut is extremely important. The gut-brain connection is so strong. So when we see an imbalance in the gut, we often see this in the brain as well. So supporting your gut through whole food nutrition, probiotics, and other supplements to support the gut integrity is really pivotal to cognitive health. So I have a whole other webinar on gut health. So if you're looking for ways to support your gut naturally, you can check that one out on our YouTube page. And then exercising regularly. So cardiovascular exercise like running, cycling, and rowing can improve the availability of oxygen to the brain and improve. So studies have found that people who actually walk faster have better memories and larger brains. So even 10 minutes a day of a brisk walk can really help. And then, of course, thinking positively, we want to reduce the risk of those tau and amyloid deposits. And then drinking plenty of water and staying hydrated is really important. So water accounts for over 70% of our brain mass. So hydration is really important for that optimal brain function. And then, of course, our supplements. So before I go through this list, it's really important to note that not necessarily every supplement should be included into a formula or may be right for you. Our nutritionist can support you in determining what ingredient or ingredients and doses are right for you, and take into consideration your health goals, any medication use, or current health status. So the first supplement I want to touch on today is omega-3. So these are our healthy fats. Again, 60% of our brain is made of fat, and 35% of this consists of omega polyunsaturated fatty acids. So it's no doubt that those healthy fats will support the integrity of our brain and the overall health of our brain. So EPA and DHA are two components of neural membranes, and they're actually two components that are found in omega-3 supplements. The EPA component has more anti-inflammatory properties, whereas the DHA component has more of the neuroprotective qualities. So this can help protect against neural degeneration by serving as an antioxidant against free radicals. Omega-3 can also improve the transport of information by supporting fluidity and permeability. So, a meta analysis of over 1,300 individuals showed that those receiving omega 3 supplementation had enhanced memory, learning, and cognitive well being. The use of omega 3 supplementation also led to higher oxygen saturation and total hemoglobin concentrations. So, this suggests an improvement in blood circulation in the brain. For omega 3, doses can range quite a bit, so somewhere between 500 and 2,000 milligrams a day. This would really depend on your diet, age, and the symptoms that you're looking to support. At VitaminLab, we also carry an algae omega 3. So, for those of you wanting to avoid seafood or have a seafood allergy, there is an alternative. And then next up, we have a wonderful herb, bacopa. So, bacopa is a plant that's been used for centuries in traditional Ayurvedic medicine, and it works by increasing certain brain chemicals or neurotransmitters like acetylcholine that are involved in thinking, learning, and memory. So, deficits of this neurotransmitter, acetylcholine, have been linked to cognitive decline and diseases like Alzheimer's disease. So, Bacopa may enhance transmission or the communication between the neurons, which promote better processing speed and memory recall. So, a 2016 study demonstrated significant effects of Bacopa on memory with a daily dose of just 300 milligrams. Participants in this study were those with already high cognitive ability, so it can certainly support those individuals who are not necessarily experiencing cognitive decline, but in a healthy population as well. With herbs, they can have different strengths on individuals, so we always recommend starting on the lower end of the scale and then slowly building up if necessary. Another wonderful herb we have is ginkgo biloba. So, this is widely regarded as the brain herb. It has wonderful antioxidant properties that can be used to combat oxidative stress. Some studies show that it does improve memory in people with dementia. Research is still needed on whether or not this has the same results on those with age related memory loss, not just dementia. But what it can do is it can improve thinking and problem solving in a middle aged, healthy population. And quite a bit of research on individuals with ADHD as well. So, a 2015 study on children and adolescents demonstrated a 27% improvement on baseline ADHD test scores with a dose of just 120 milligrams for just 6 weeks. So, great results for just a low dose in a short time. So, ginkgo works by facilitating vasodilation, which is the widening of blood vessels. This enhances blood and oxygen flow to the brain. So, that improved circulation contributes to enhanced cognitive function and memory. So, again, doses of this range from 120 milligrams once a day to 160 milligrams twice a day. Again, with all herbs, better to start on that lower end of the scale to see how you respond and then slowly increase that dose if necessary. And then our next one here is acetyl L-carnitine. So acetyl L-carnitine is an amino acid that helps transport fatty acids into the mitochondria where they're converted into energy. So that increased energy availability influences synaptic activity or that communication between the neurons. So this is not to be confused with L-carnitine. While both forms help transport those fatty acids into the mitochondria, acetyl L-carnitine is more easily absorbed in the gut and more readily crosses that blood-brain barrier. So this form has been studied for its potential to improve memory, mood, and cognitive function. Acetyl L-carnitine also has those great antioxidant properties that can protect the brain cells against age-related damage and degeneration. So, a 2018 meta-analysis reviewed the effects of acetyl L-carnitine on cognitive function. They found that supplementation had a positive impact on cognition in elderly participants, especially those with mild cognitive impairment. So, some great results here as well. So, doses of this range quite a bit, 350 milligrams to 1,000 milligrams. Again, this really does vary on individual needs and responses. Then next up, we have our phosphatidylserine. So I'll refer to this as PS throughout this presentation. So this is a phospholipid. It's found in high concentrations in our brain cell membranes. So it plays a key role in maintaining the cellular integrity and cellular pathways, or the chain of chemical reactions in the brain. So there are so many studies on this one, but one in particular, a 2010 study, looked at the effects of PS on memory and cognitive function in a population of adults with memory issues. So the study reported significant improvement in both immediate verbal recall and delayed verbal recall. So this indicates an improvement in overall memory. Um, PS also plays a role in regulating the stress response by reducing our cortisol levels. So elevated cortisol levels can impair cognitive function, but supplementing with PS can contribute to improved cognitive resilience under stress. So again, building that tolerance to stress that we saw was a symptom earlier in this presentation. So in general, PS can be a really promising supplement for quite a few neurodegenerative and neurodevelopmental diseases. Doses of phosphatidylserine can range from 100 to 300 milligrams daily. Like many of our supplements, always advised to start on the lower end of that and then adjust based on an individual response. The last one I want to touch on today is our magnesium L-threonate. So this is a new ingredient to us at VitaminLab, so I really want to highlight some of its benefits. So magnesium L-threonate is a unique form of magnesium that is combined with L-threonate, which is a compound naturally derived from vitamin C. So this form of magnesium is able to cross the blood-brain barrier, and it's actually the only form shown to enhance the brain's magnesium levels and those potential cognitive effects. So magnesium L-threonate activates certain receptors, which lead to increased synaptic density and improved memory. So a 2022 study of over 100 participants demonstrated that a dose of 1,600 milligrams for 30 days showed significant improvements in all 5 categories of a standardized clinical memory test. So some great results on memory here. At VitaminLab, our magnesium threonate is standardized to 7% elemental magnesium. So a dose of 1,600 milligrams is going to provide you with about 112 milligrams of elemental magnesium. All right, so there we have it. There's our 6 supplements to unlock better brain health. Again, we don't want to go ahead and add all of these ingredients into a formula to help with cognition. We really want to add the ingredients that are more targeted to our health goals or problem areas. Some of these ingredients may have the potential to interact with medications, so it's always a good idea to check with your doctor first. Our team of nutritionists are more than happy to guide you through this process in determining what dose or what ingredients are right for you. So when we're supplementing to support the brain, we're supporting the overall organ rather than those specific areas like the hippocampus or the amygdala. Certain supplements have certainly shown to yield more specific results in terms of memory or processing speed. But when we're supplementing, we're supporting the organ as a whole. So how do we know that those lifestyle changes and those supplements that we're taking are improving our brain health? So just a few things that we may see. We may see improved gut health. So again, that gut-brain connection is so strong. Happy, healthy gut can lead to better brain health and vice versa. Better sleep. So quality, regular sleep improves our memory, lowers our stress, and gives our brain the time to reset. We may also see improved focus, attention span, the ability to quickly learn new things. And then just that vitality and like feeling good overall. And it's not just in your head. So a recent study found that subjects who reported feeling younger than their actual age actually had more gray matter in those critical brain regions related to cognition. So pretty cool there. And it may take time to see those benefits. We normally say a new supplement regime or a new ingredient normally takes about 3 to 6 months of continued use to see those benefits. So just give your body the time it needs to start absorbing and utilizing those nutrients. As always, I'd love to hear your thoughts, questions, and suggestions. There's our phone number and email. If you have any questions or thoughts, feel free to send them over. You are also welcome to book a complimentary consultation with one of our nutritionists if you want to chat more about any of the ingredients in this presentation or any health goals that you have that we can help address through your supplement. Thank you again so much for your time today. Bye bye.